in the Icarus deception, you said, everyone is lonely and everyone feels like a fraud. I feel like a fraud as I type this, as I brush my teeth, and every time I go on stage. This is part of the human condition. Accept it. Now what? So the question is like, so I feel like a fraud. And believe me, like preparing for this, I had that guy show up. I call him a guy. That's what he is in my mind. It's Homer Simpson's boss, Mr. Smithers, I think. And he shows up and he's like, hey, what? You're in New Zealand? What? Like Seth Godin? What are you talking? Who gave you permission? What are you doing? So Seth, I know that guy shows up for you, guy or girl shows up for you too. Yep. Just close with giving us some sense of how you deal with it.
Let's look at what happened when I was 16 or 17 or 18, because most of us have such miserable middle school, high school careers. I was never good at any athletic endeavor. And my peers let me know this. And it wasn't from lack of trying. It's from the line one genes. Like I just didn't get a head start that other people got. In other ways, I got a huge head start, right? Okay, now what? What are you going to do about that? And that's where I sort of developed this habit, which a lot of people have developed, about figuring out if you're going to spend all your time turning your big weaknesses into mediocrities, or whether you're going to figure out how to turn that thing you're passionate about even further. And the thing that's keeping us from going that far is that our society persuaded us that we'd be better off keeping our head down. Don't raise your hand. Don't do anything where people might call you a fraud. Well, if you're going to settle for that, now you're just stuck being mediocre. And so I understand that the cost of doing work that helps other people is that you're going to feel like a fraud. And that if you don't, then you're a megalomaniac and an idiot. So given that you're not a megalomaniac and an idiot, you're going to feel like a fraud. Okay, great. You feel like a fraud. Now what are you going to do about it? And it feels to me like that's a really small price to pay. I've been to some of the poorest places on earth. I've seen people raising their family in conditions I cannot imagine. And if all I have to deal with is feeling like a fraud every day, that feels like a small price to pay.